You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to our Lap of Extra Mile for today, November 14th, 2024. And it is time to say goodbye to the 2024 racing season as it is. And to help me talk about all of that, of course, are my co-hosts, Jenn B, Christopher Lehman. You're welcome, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good evening from Taryn there, joining us there in the YouTube chat. Ready to go green one last time here in 2024. We're going to get into a great review tonight of the season that was, including the NASCAR Championship that just wrapped up. And we're going to talk about all of that after we pay some bills. So sit tight. We'll be right back after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
We want to thank Planet Jerky Premium Beef Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals for being terrific sponsors during the 2024 season of the Extra Mile and here on IE Sports Radio. And we can't wait to do it all again in 2025. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to go through the first segment, a brief review of the racing that was this weekend in Phoenix. We'll go briefly with the Truck Series race where Ty Majeski absolutely dominated on his way to his first truck title in a race that was, I think, a foregone conclusion early. Majeski, I think he was a little bit angry because he got fined for going to vote instead of being on a mandatory NASCAR media call. And Jenn, Chris, I think he took it out on the Truck Series grid on Friday night.
Yeah, he really he went to town.
He really did. So Ty Majeski gets his first NASCAR Touring Series championship on Friday. And then we move to Saturday. And I think this was the marquee race of the weekend, the Xfinity Series championship. Justin Allgaier at one point was one lap down in this race because of a speeding penalty and other issues during a restart. And his race was all about perseverance. He came back, survived a late race restart to finally win his first Xfinity Series championship. But Jenn, I think that was the hardest fought championship all day. Allgaier really had to fight to win that one.
Yeah, I missed the actual race, but I watched the highlights, and they said, well, he's pretty much out of it now with these penalties. And then the next thing I know, they're saying he's in first place again. I was like, what is happening right now? So yeah, he really fought to get back to the front of the pack, and he came out on top.
Allgaier won his second race of the year to win that championship. Cole Custer, AJ Allmendinger, Austin Hill round out positions 2 through 4. And now the question, Chris, for Allgaier is, will he be able to defend this title? Something that is extremely hard to do in this championship format. What is going for him, though, is the fact that Cole Custer, AJ Allmendinger, they're going to move up to the Cup Series next year. So that really just leaves Austin Hill as really his toughest competition going into next season.
When it comes to Allgaier, he's really been, especially the last few years, he's been very consistent. So when it comes to defending the title, of course, he's got a real opportunity to do it. He's in JRM equipment. So, you're talking about as far as teams go, he's certainly in the position that I would most likely want to be in. If I was in the Xfinity Series, I think I'd want to be in JRM equipment. So he has, I would say, a fairly good shot at defending his title next year. And it doesn't really matter what personnel changes, not personnel, but what driver changes, who's coming up. I think that he's got a very good opportunity to defend that title.
Yeah, I think it's just good to finally see him get the title. Allgaier has been an Xfinity lifer. He did come up to the Cup Series with Phoenix Racing. Not really a ride that I would say is championship caliber, and it showed by just the lack of results with that team. It really wasn't a team doing all that much, and he goes back to Xfinity, where, to be honest, that's where his home has been, the Xfinity Series, and Allgaier has really made it his own, and he's one of the drivers that has proven that you don't need to be in the Cup Series to make a career out of running in a NASCAR Touring Series race.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. I remember back in his Cup days, when he went down, I was like, oh man, that's not good. But he definitely has found a home in the Xfinity Series, and I think he's, it's a very mutual mutually beneficial relationship with JRM and Allgaier.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically become, the leader of that team. And now he goes into coming into next season where he will be the chased instead of the chaser as the Cup Series champion. As the Xfinity Series champion going into 2025. And your Cup Series champion on Sunday, Joey Logano. This one has caused a little bit of controversy for reasons that are beyond me. I'm going to be honest. But the way I look at it, guys, is you gave Joey Logano a second chance at the title, and the last thing you do is give Joey Logano a second chance at the pay window after he was already out.
Yep. And I think we all called this last week.
We did. We really did.
It's not surprising at all, but I have seen a lot of the upset and dissent on the socials over the last couple of days, and I mean, he went out there and did what he had to do.
He went out there and what he had to win, and he did it. And the problem is folks are now trying to do this whole, we need to change the format again, because how dare the 15th place driver, when there's 16 drivers eligible in the championship, win, do what the format was designed to do, which is go out there and win. And he wouldn't be here. I'm sorry, Chris, but he wouldn't be here.
I know.
If Hendrick Motorsports didn't decide that a cutoff race was the time to play with the weight on one of the cars.
Yeah,
that didn't make sense.
I know. I said very blatantly, if you are upset about Joey Logano winning, please direct all that hate at a Mr. Rick Hendrick, a Mr. Jeff Gordon, a Mr. Greg Ives. I can keep going. Yeah. But direct all your hate towards Hendrick, and that's coming from an Alex Bowman diehard. That's 100% on Hendrick Motorsports.
Yep. Joey Logano takes the win. Ryan Blaney, his Penske teammate, finishes second in what was a spirited battle between the two in the last 30 laps. Unfortunately, Ryan Blaney unable to defend his title from last year. William Byron and Tyler Reddick were basically also rans in this playoff race. They really didn't have much to show. They did not have the pace that those Penske Fords had. And I'm going to zero in on Hendrick for this. That was a major league sell job by Hendrick this year. You start the championship with 4 cars in the playoffs. Your top 2 cars don't even make the final round, and your last remaining car was a distant third. Let's be honest. I think you have to look at this season for Hendrick Motorsports as an absolute failure.
Yep, I was muted. Absolute and total failure. Mm-hmm. And unacceptable. And still really upset about Alex Bowman.
I think we all are upset about Alex Bowman. I think that is where our main ire was, because I think Alex would have been in with a shout at this had he been able to contest the round of 8, but just the whole team and Kyle Larson, he needed to be humbled, I think is what happened here, because he made that comment about being the best race car driver around the world, and then he just went nosedive straight into the ground.
He absolutely did.
That's not something the greatest racing driver in the world would do.
No.
Crumble under their own pressure.
No. Meanwhile, there's another one that was under pressure. We're going to talk about here momentarily, that he's actually going to win his championship this weekend, the way it's going.
Possibly.
Jen, how do you see Hendrick recovering from this next year? Because this is the type of blow that, if this was in football terms, this would send a team into a hangover going into the next year.
I I don't know. They've got some figuring out to do for sure. And I I I don't know. Like the way that Kyle Larson just took a complete nosedive, like you said, it was astounding. And I don't know what they're trying to do. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, I think they got too cute. They got too full of themselves, and it cost them, to be honest, because none of their cars brought home the trophy. On the other hand, Penske, this is a team that is hard to figure out because they go into this season, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, they had flashes, but they were never really like in the conversation until we got to the playoffs. And then Austin Cindric, is he ever going to show what he had in Xfinity in the Cup level? Like, we're gonna have to put out an APB for Xfinity era Austin Cindric because he's not competing at the level of his teammates, both of whom now have championships.
I would say the caveat on that is it does take a while to develop. And so they're being patient with him, which is good. However, I kind of, I don't know, I thought he was a bit overrated in, his lower series days anyway. Kind of same thing with Chase Briscoe. And they were kind of right around the same time. So I don't know. I never had a ton of faith in him to begin with, but.
Speaking of Briscoe, this was also the last race for Stewart-Haas Racing. The door on that chapter is finally shut. But there was an interesting moment at the end of that race where the 4 and the 14 are kind of driving together as doing a little send-off. And the 41 is nowhere to be seen. And then there's a photo that later comes out that Ryan Preece was talking to Brad Keselowski at the end of the race instead of celebrating with the Stewart-Haas Racing teammates. Now, there was a lot of conversation over the summer, some of it we didn't get to, of some trouble in paradise over there with SHR, where the 14 and the 4 were having study sessions, and Ryan Preece basically was not allowed to be there. Now, the streets say there may be the reason for the discord had to lie with Gene Haas and Cole Custer ending up in the Xfinity series for a year while Ryan Preece came over, and that may not have been a unanimous decision between Tony and Gene, but at this point, I think it's good for that group to just take a clean break at this point, if that's how bad it was getting. Because I couldn't see how it would go into 2025 if those stories are true.
It just reminds me of the Gunther Steiner's book, how he dedicates it to everyone that worked at Haas. And then down in the very bottom right corner, there's a little asterisk and it says, except Gene. I don't know. Gene Haas Racing, Stuart Haas. Get my stuff mixed up here. I don't know. I've kind of always felt that there was a little bit of a mess when it came to upper management there.
Yes.
Especially the last couple of years, it seemed like every year there was some sort of report about Tony and Gene getting into some sort of argument or disagreement about something. So it's really not surprising that caused a rift within the team that really played itself out in the final season. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's unfortunate to see, and between what happened with the Formula One team and what's going on with the NASCAR team, Jen, it seems like, much like other sports, the main denominator with the problem seems to be the guy running the show.
Yeah, that seems to be a major issue all around the sports world. And unfortunately, the guy at the top never wants to admit fault. So
Yeah.
that leaves everybody kind of stuck in limbo.
That is unfortunate. Hopefully they'll be able to get it together, especially the F1 team, as they are showing some speed this year. Before we take our break to get into our 2025 or 2024 send-off / 2025 preview portion of the show, we do have a Formula One race this weekend, and it's probably going to be the end of the championship chase for Lando Norris, as Formula One did put out the graphic on social media for the championship scenario, and it's pretty simple for Max Verstappen. Finish in front of Lando Norris, he is the 2024 champion. Lando has to beat Max by 3 points to continue his championship chase to another weekend. I think I know what most of us are feeling at this point, but how are we feeling about the championship? Is it over this weekend?
It could be.
Crispy and diplomatic.
No, I'm just thinking of the nuclear option. It's happened before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Darryl knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's hope we don't see that in 2021. Or let's hope we don't get a repeat of that. Let's just get this over with this weekend, I think.
Hey, it's worked historically. I don't know. I think Max can probably get it done this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
I think he wins the championship either way. It's just whether he does it this weekend or in Abu Dhabi.
I think it's too far gone. You're right. And I think McLaren has to thank their lucky stars where that Lando screwed up so badly in Brazil, because now no one's going to talk about the Hungary decision ever again because Lando blew it at Brazil.
Correct.
And the way it was going, McLaren was going to spend the entire offseason hearing, why did you not give Norris the spot in Hungary? Now they don't have to hear that again anymore. So that's the only silver lining from this. Max wins the championship if he finishes in front of Lando or Lando fails to score. I think there's going to be another number one flag in the Lehman house at the end of this.
I hope so. Probably won't be getting another one next year, though.
I don't think we're going to be getting a lot of anything next year, the way things are looking. But we're not going to get into that on this program. But we are going to take a break. When we come back,
you dog. I got it.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that tonight.
It'll cost 20% more, but we can get it.
At least, unfortunately. When we come back, we're going to talk about the season that was and hit some major topics on what we're looking forward to next year in 2025. We'll be right back here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jenn B, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl, Jenn B, and Chris here with you this evening to wrap up the season that was in the international motorsports world. Been a fun year of racing, and it's time to bid adieu to the season. There are some series that are going to wrap up this weekend as well. The V8 Supercars, I keep calling them V8 Supercars, just the Australian Supercars Championship wrapping up there in Adelaide. It'll always be V8 Supercars to me. They're wrapping up at Adelaide this weekend. Actually, their Friday running is on right now if you have it on YouTube. We now set our sights towards 2025, and one of the announcements we got today is that the greatest day in motorsports is no more, as the Monaco Grand Prix has signed a deal to continue on for the Formula One World Championship until 2031. Yay. Unfortunately, it is moving from the end of May to the first weekend in June. So unfortunately, Jenn, Chris, we no longer have the trifecta on Memorial Day. However, this does open up the opportunity for Formula One drivers to run the Indy 500 if they want. So it is bittersweet, but it's definitely bitter because Monaco still exists on the Formula One schedule.
That's a bold take. I don't agree. I think Monaco is very important to Formula One. I really loved Memorial Day weekend. Sunday, you start off, at least for us East Coasters anyway, you wake up in the morning and you're eating breakfast, drinking your coffee, watching the Monaco Grand Prix. And then you take a little bathroom break, start working on some lunch, and then you got the Indy 500. And then by the time you can't really see straight because the Long Island iced teas are kicking in, it's time for the Coke 600. It's just gonna suck, to be honest with you. That was my favorite race weekend of the year, and it is no more. So it honestly sucks. And I know that these guys, I don't think any team is going to let their active drivers go run the Indy 500. And I highly doubt you would see a Project 91 car with an active Formula One driver in it for the Coke 600, as much as I would like to see Max run the Coke 600.
Yeah, I think you would more see the Formula One guys maybe try NASCAR instead of IndyCar, because unfortunately a lot of the Formula One drivers just do not want to run open wheel oval races, to be honest, for good reason. But as much as I like to razz on the Monaco Grand Prix, it is sad that we will no longer have the 3 crown jewel races on the same day. It made it a special day and it gets a little less special now. But at least we get more sleep-in time before the Indy 500 now.
I know, but the mimosas.
Your brunch mimosas before the Indy 500. So going into 2025, obviously we'll see new drivers in new places. We still have a team that has not decided their driver lineup yet, and that is Red Bull V-Carb for 2025. I believe Yuki Tsunoda will have that seat next year. It's just who else is going to be in that seat. I think the pairing.
So are we saying that right now, Max Red Bull, Yuki V-Carb, and then the other two seats, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah. I think Max and Yuki are staying exactly where they are.
Yep.
I think Liam is going to go. I think Liam might end up in Red Bull, and the Colapinto, if he doesn't stay at Williams, I think he'll be at V-Carb. I just do not see them keeping Sergio after how this season has gone after he signed that contract.
Yeah. So as the in-house Red Bull fan, my ideal pairing would be Max and Yuki. But I think you're right. I think Max and Yuki are set where they're at. And all I'm going to do is flop. I'm just going to flip around your second seat. So I'm taking Colapinto to Red Bull, and Lawson stays at V-Carb. What about you, Jen? Oops, didn't mean to cut you off, Darryl.
No, Jen, go ahead and then I'll go.
You guys know a lot more about this stuff than I do, so I'm just gonna go with you guys on this. I agree. I don't think
choice.
Max is going anywhere.
Not in 2025, at least.
No. I just do, the reason I don't see them moving Yuki to Red Bull is because he's leaving at the end of that year to go to Aston Martin with Honda. Correct. Now, does that mean Lance Stroll is finally going to end up out of that seat? God, I hope so. But
I can see Fernando getting a forced retirement over that.
I think if you let Fernando go, at that point, Lawrence just needs to sell the team. Like, I get that's your kid. He's terrible. I think we can all say he does not deserve a Formula One seat.
Yeah.
It's time for him to go.
I agree. Just go buy the kid an endurance team and let him have fun.
They have an endurance car now that's going to be in WEC next year. Go put him in that after 2025.
Let him be the head driver over there.
Yeah. Ironically, he might do better over there. There's a lot of drivers that, for whatever reason, they don't do well in Formula One. They go over to sports cars and they excel. Maybe sports cars would be good for Lance.
They should have him race tractor trailer trucks.
Hey, there is a world truck championship.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's awesome.
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that to be smart.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. He might get his behind whipped in those as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
So we'll get into more about 2025 in a minute. First, we need to continue to eulogize 2024. What were some of your guys' favorite moments of this motorsport season? I'll start it off with, I guess what you could call low-hanging fruit. I think the first true 24 Hours of Le Mans in the hypercar era was absolutely phenomenal this year. And Ferrari finally taking the win home was great to see after a long time absence. Heartbreak again for Toyota because they are only allowed heartbreak when the race is actually competitive and they have a chance to win. But the Endurance Classic once again proved why it's the greatest race in the world. Chris, Jen, how about you for favorite moments of the season?
So, Darryl, your favorite moment surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought for sure you would have said when you saw that tweet that said that Booty Barker got canned.
That is another one of my moments where I was happy. I will admit. You guys know how I've felt about that crew chief situation all year. I think I got on that soapbox a couple times this season, but I love Booty. He's a great guy, great cheerleader. He's going to do good things in the race strategy department. I'm just glad he's not on the box next year. That is what I will say.
My favorite moment would probably be Bowman winning Chicago, or what will be Max winning the 2024 Drivers' Championship, and just every Max win along the way.
Well, I will apologize because he started losing the week I picked him. So
So it's all you.
It's all my fault.
It had
100% my fault.
It had nothing to do with Horny Horner.
No, it was all me.
Damn it, Jen. I will pick for Michael, and it's going to be anytime Ferrari did good.
Yes. I think that was anytime they actually did well, they were he was happy.
I'm just trying to think of other. Oh, Denny Hamlin suing NASCAR. That was a real highlight.
Yeah, that really has dominated the second half of the season, that lawsuit. Yeah. And that will dominate the off-season conversation.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hopefully it comes out in a way that is equitable for the teams. Fingers crossed. But that is going to be a subject we will be watching a lot.
Denny and Larry Mack getting into it on Twitter.
Yes, that has been absolutely...
That's a good one.
That one came out of left field, but I will say this about Denny Hamlin. He is becoming a lot of people's favorite driver because he became an owner and just ripped the mask off.
Well, Andy got the
just getting all the snark now.
He got the podcast. I think Dale Jr. talking him into that was probably the best thing for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, because now he gets to speak his mind, and
now he gets to speak his mind. And like, once you're able to get more information, and I don't want to say build a bond, but if you listen to Denny every week, no matter whether you like him or not, you are sort of kind of building a relationship, or at least an empathetic understanding. So I think that's been great. And
Jen, what's your favorite moment of the season?
I don't really have a favorite moment. I'm just happy to be getting back into racing because I got away from it after Jeff Gordon retired. So I'm reacquainting myself with everything. So, and I watched the Rolex 24 for the first time ever this year, thanks to Larry B. He told me to check it out, and I did. And I can't say that I stayed up for the whole thing, but I watched parts of it, and I fell asleep with it on, and it was still on when I woke up.
I'll be trying to watch most of it next year from the grounds of the Daytona International Speedway next year. Cannot wait to get down there in January to see the Rolex 24. And let's get into some of our awards of the season. We'll start with the WTF moment of the year, and there are plenty of these.
Can I go first?
To go around. Go ahead. And then
I am going to pick the Red Bull meltdown, aka why did we not fire Horny Horner?
We're still trying to figure that one out. That was a black eye for Formula One at the beginning of the year. The first of many black eyes for Formula One off the track. I think the swearing debacle also goes into that one. The rapper's comment by Ben also goes into that one.
Yeah.
A lot of these are going to be Formula One now that I think about it. It was a year of controversy for Formula One, and I would say that's unfortunate, but that's par for the course with Formula One.
At this point.
Yeah, it's what they do. It's breed controversy. Mine starts off with Formula One, and it goes to.
Here's the charter agreement. You have 2 hours to read it and sign it.
Oh no, we're gonna get to that in a moment. I blanked on my Formula One. McLaren is not going to escape the Hungary Grand Prix thing. Why do you not switch those cars, knowing the situation? I don't care that you messed up the strategy a couple of weeks back for Piastri. You've got to give Lando that spot. And it changes everything with the championship going into the summer break. Now, their only saving grace is it didn't matter at the end, because Lando goes into Brazil and absolutely wets the bed, and the championship's probably going to end on Saturday night. That is their only saving grace, to be honest.
Yeah.
The entire charter saga for NASCAR, I think, is my number one pick. This was not handled in a way that keeps the sport in a positive light, especially because we now have a lawsuit that we have to deal with during the offseason. And no matter how this lawsuit ends, the sport comes out looking, the sanctioning body rather, comes out looking so petty and so small when you're trying to be a professional sports league that is still run like a mafia family. It doesn't work. And this has just been ugly, and we have no idea how next year is going to play out, because your most exciting new team may not be on the grid for the Daytona 500 as things sit. And they were possibly going to be expanding to a third team this year.
Yeah.
Jen, what's your favorite moment of the year?
We've talked about it ad nauseum.
Oh, sorry, your WTF moment of the year.
I have to go with the McLaren debacle in Hungary myself, but definitely, I mean, the NASCAR charter situation, we're going to be talking about that next year too, probably. But I watched that race, and I was literally staring at my screen saying, what are they doing? And yes, Lando screwed up in Brazil, but would he have been more focused if that hadn't have happened and he was more in the race with Max for the championship than he ended up being after that? I will never understand that one. No matter how I look at it, I don't get it.
The way it sits, that flipping that win probably changes the entire outlook of this second half of the season. It just, you gave Red Bull a lifeline, and it's unfortunate that they did that. Another WTF moment of the year at the beginning of the season: Penske, IndyCar, St. Pete.
Oh, I got a different IndyCar one though.
The St. Pete debacle when it came to the push to pass button. Some poor engineer on his first IndyCar job got fired because of that, and it's unfortunate because it really tanked Joseph Newgarden's season. And if he doesn't have that points penalty, I really want to know how that championship would have wrapped up between him and Alex Palou. Chris, you had another one?
Yes, Darryl, and it is one that we talked about a lot in a very negative way. That is IndyCar deciding when Chevrolet wasn't ready with the hybrid engine to just scrap it.
Oh my God!
After Honda and put all the money into it.
Yeah,
you forgot about that, didn't you?
I did, because it was so stupid. For those that don't remember, they were not supposed to be fitting the hybrid system to the engines they've been using now. They were supposed to be completely new engines coming with the hybrid unit. But Chevy, which is built by Ilmor, which is owned by Penske, Their engine wasn't ready. Honda's was ready. So instead of delaying to next year, they scrapped the whole thing and pissed Honda off royally. To the point, Honda may leave for NASCAR when their contract runs out with IndyCar in 2026. Hopefully that means an announcement that NASCAR is going hybrid in Cup in 2027. And I think it's going that way because that AB car that they've been using to test electric components ran at Phoenix. And there's a reason that car is still around. They are testing electric components or something.
Yeah. No need to get into the hybrid debate right now, though. We can save that for another time next year. There'll be a little dead space in the beginning of the season. So,
we'll get to that during the dead time.
I don't know. I guess maybe IndyCar doing a charter system might be a WTF moment. Anytime Lance Stroll was in a car is a WTF moment.
Yeah, Lance Stroll showing up to the racetrack was a WTF moment because every time he showed up to the track, he was going to do the absolute dumbest thing imaginable.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that
the rain at Chicago for the second straight year.
No, I think that makes it good.
Yeah, but it's like we haven't seen that race run to conclusion yet because of the rain. It's always been ended late due to darkness, which is ironic because the Xfinity race got all its laps in and was incredible.
I still think that both years we've done Chicago have been phenomenal. Maybe there's a teeny bit of bias because Bowman won this year, but I still thought it was a great race.
No, Chicago's been awesome the 2 years we've done it. I hope we can get all the laps in at some point. Hopefully this year, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that race they'll do a contract extension. Next year is the last year of the contract, but
I think Chicago will want to do it. It's whether NASCAR will want to stay in Chicago or if they're going to want to take that show on the road, so to speak.
Well, it's the other thing is, because does NASCAR want to keep paying the money because they're not making money on this race. They're paying Chicago to run this race.
But I think they're going to have bargaining now with Chicago, though, if they do want to go in and say, hey, you had the sweetheart deal. You've had a couple of years. You saw what it does to your city. Let's renegotiate.
Yeah.
There's one thing the Francis aren't willing to do, and that's negotiate in good faith. So
that's the other thing.
We'll send them a contract and give them 2 hours to sign it.
Yeah. France family negotiation tactics leave a lot to be desired. Let's get into our race of the year. And I think this one is low-hanging fruit, but this year's the Indy 500 has been on a decade-plus run of just bangers. And Newgarden picking up that second race win with all the controversy around him to go win the second Indy 500 for his career, or in his career, definitely a top-tier race of this season.
Mine is going to be Brazil. Max needed that. 17th to first in one race. In a wet race, it was a masterclass. Absolute banger of a race. And with huge championship implications, too. So that or Chicago Street Course. Those are my two. Jen?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Trying. And I gotta look at the schedule because I have a race in mind, but I'm not sure which one it was.
I think Joey Logano stretching the fuel at Nashville has to be up there.
Yeah.
Going 110 laps on that last stint where like half the field was just dying, trying to hold on to their fuel. And he just goes across, does the burnout, everything. He probably could have ran that car at the start of the next race. Probably still had enough fuel in it. Definitely got to inspect that fuel tank after that race.
That's not what I wanted.
I think the WE. Oh, we didn't talk about this series a lot, but IMSA at Detroit was a great race. That's the one that Acura won with Wayne Taylor Racing. That was a street fight for the ages in the GTP/hypercar category, and was really, for me, a highlight of why that top class is so exciting.
Another good race was Iowa and IndyCar this year.
Both Iowa races were equally entertaining
because there were no on-track passes for the lead across both races.
That was...
The races weren't bad, but you can't have no passing for the lead.
Yeah, every other position changed hands but the lead. That one was just weird. Who was your guys' driver of the year? I think you got to give it to Max. He has gone through adversity this season with how that team is seemingly just crumbling all around him. You've got Horner get into it with the big bosses. His dad getting into it with Horner. Helmut Marko exists, and people are still asking him questions. So you've got to deal with that. Just a lot of chaos around him. The car wasn't that great. Helmut Marko still exists. Yeah.
The swear police.
Just all the nonsense this year, and he's risen above it to probably win another championship. And this one, I don't think you can argue that he hasn't earned it.
Yep. 100% agreed. Also, I would say a shout out to Van Gisbergen.
Shane, he dominated the Xfinity road
he came over,
this year.
He did a really good job this year. If we had I don't even think it would be most improved. I would think that if we had a category for just rookie of the year or something, or most impressive, that'd be him. He was super competitive every weekend. It was just great to see him come over, and I really hope that he's opening up a path for other supercars drivers to come over, because I would love to see a couple of those guys even run in Project 91 or something. I think it would be so great to see a couple more of those guys come over.
Speaking of supercars, you got to give a shout to Will Brown and Brock Feeney of Red Bull Racing Red Bull Ampol Racing in the supercars ranks. They absolutely dominated the start of this season, and at this point, they're going to finish 1-2 in the championship. Will Brown, I think, has the advantage going into the Adelaide 500, but a great year for them. I've tried to go back and watch most of those races because there's no way I'm going to stay up until 1 a.m. to watch the supercar races live. I just can't make it.
The YouTube thing is really good.
Yes.
Or if you
I have it.
Or if you're a Pirate of the Caribbean.
Anyway, you can watch the race.
See it other ways. But the YouTube thing's really good. If anybody's interested, it's relatively reasonably priced as well.
Jen, you have a driver of the year?
Why is it Lance Stroll? Is it because Cleveland is so close to Canada?
Yes.
You have other Canadians.
I can see it from my window, actually.
I know. I've been to Cleveland before. First time, last time situation.
But we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on. Oh, driver of the year. Oh, let's see. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin.
Really?
He still had a shot up till nearly the very end, even with everything else he had going on outside of the race car. And he may be changing NASCAR here soon.
I support that.
He is definitely taking the Tony Stewart role of the driver agitator of NASCAR, which is fun to see. And I think it's a role that really does suit him.
Yep.
So 2024, the racing season is over. Thanksgiving is coming up. We're going to eat way too much. Then we go into Christmas. And then January, we get ready for racing again. There will be some off-season races as well. The Macau Grand Prix is coming up
Chili Bowl
this weekend. The Chili Bowl. The chili sit around and wait bowl that it's become the last couple of years.
Fair enough.
What are we looking forward to the most in 2025? I will start a favorable resolution to the NASCAR lawsuit for the teams. I think is what we're all looking for after how all this went down.
I think the 2311 and FRM shops are looking forward to a year off paid.
Yeah,
because
the way it's going.
I don't know that they'll be putting cars on track. Because I think Denny said he's not running as an open team, right?
Denny said they would skip races as an open team.
Yeah. So I think we'll be seeing them skipping races at this point. Looking forward to in 2025, hopefully William Byron with a winless season.
Jesus.
I really don't think I have much to look forward to in 2025, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I am looking forward the most the continuation of the growth of hypercar, especially here in the United States with Aston Martin joining the grid for the IMSA season. Rodin Motors, a team in the F2 ranks, is looking to join the WEC as a stepping stone to F1 at some point. So I just can't wait to see how sports car racing continues to evolve next year. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more on this show. That's on me. Also, I'm interested in how IndyCar on Fox is going to go. We are going to have the Indy 500 on Fox this year. How are they going to make that work? The Cup Series coverage has left a lot to be desired the last couple of years. Will they put their best foot forward for Indy? I'm pretty sure what's left of Twitter and Blue Sky will be pretty pissed if they don't. So that'll be something to watch all year. Jen, how about you?
Hold on, pause, Jen. Sorry. Are we really not looking forward to Lewis Hamilton winning his 8th title with Ferrari?
I'm getting to that. We're not done yet.
Okay. I just couldn't let that go. I actually do want to say that I would say I'm looking forward to Scott McLaughlin winning the 2025 IndyCar Championship. On to you, Jen.
Well, like Darryl said, I hope there is a favorable resolution to this lawsuit, but I don't know. I think I have a feeling NASCAR is going to be looking a lot different in 2025. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I am looking forward to getting more familiar with all of these drivers and things of that nature. And I am going to work on that in the off season.
I am also excited, as Chris said, to see Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari red and hopefully waltzing away to an 8th title next season. Fingers crossed. That is a team that is loaded for bear next season, and they've shown at times this season they have speed, and I think they're going to go into next year with Charles and with Lewis. And they're going to want championship or bust, I think. And I think those two drivers can get it done. I'm just also looking forward to seeing the engine start again. You guys know motorsports is my life. I love it. And I can't wait for us to get started again. It's always emotional around this time because the engines fall silent. The cars go back into the garage, and there's really not a lot going on unless you stay up until 1 a.m. to watch the regional Le Mans Series racing that goes on during this time.
I do not do that.
It's always fun, but those race start times do not work for those of us in America that have been up all night. So some housekeeping before we leave. This will be the last time you guys hear us on Thursdays. Next season, we are moving to Monday nights, same time, 8 p.m. So make sure you catch us then. We may also be moving social media platforms given things that are going on in the ether that we're not going to bring into this show. But if you're an American citizen over the last couple of weeks, you know what's going on. So we want to thank everyone that has come along this year that has been with our transition from audio to StreamYard. We will be full StreamYard next season here on YouTube. The 2025 racing season is upon us, and we cannot wait to get started. Before we go, I want to put this in your calendars. We will get started with the newest season of the Extra Mile. Monday, January 13th at 8 p.m. here on YouTube, we will get started again with the Extra Mile. That next Monday is a holiday and also me getting ready to fly out to Daytona. So TBD and whether or not we will have a show then. But keep it locked to our social media pages, and we will let you know how the season is going to get started. Jenn, thank you for coming aboard. Can't wait to have you for a full season next year. Chris, as always, thank you for being here. This has been a lot of fun. Michael couldn't make it tonight. We love having him around. We hope to have him back next year as well to get things started. And before we go, our off-season plans. Well, other than getting ready for a trip, I'm going to be getting on YouTube, binging all the races I missed this year, and just enjoying the Christmas season. Jenn, Chris, what are your plans?
Not playing Grand Theft Auto 6, unfortunately. I will be playing Farming Simulator 25 a ton. That just came out on Tuesday, and it is fantastic. If you like Farming Simulator, absolutely worth the money. Other than that, just spending time with the family and hanging out. We should be finished harvesting corn tomorrow, so looking forward to the harvest season being over, our 2024 crop year being over, and we'll be jumping into the shop here the next couple of days and start preparing for the spring. So yeah, looking forward to it, and it's been a hell of a ride, Darryl. So thank you for being a phenomenal host as always. I think this is my third full season with the show, so or four, yeah, three, I think. So it's been awesome, Darryl. I'm looking forward to be back with you again next year. And Jenn, it's been great having you. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you're back next year too.
Thank you.
So Jenn, you still got a lot going on with Show of the Land. What are you looking forward to during your off season?
Well, I'm waiting for the Cavs to get that first loss.
Hopefully it never comes.
I actually asked my husband, I was like, has there ever been a completely undefeated basketball team? And he was like, no. That doesn't happen. And I was like, oh, well, maybe this is the year.
I was just, it's bound to happen eventually.
But every game I'm like, is this the one? Is this the one? But so far hasn't been the one. So staying on top of that and, paying attention to the Browns as little as possible, just so I can talk about them on my show, because they're annoying me. And staying up with the rest of the teams that I cover, and spending time with family, and reviewing some of the race season to get a little more familiar with everything. So I'm ready to go for next season in January.
Next season is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of heartbreak, hopefully some good legal decisions. And no matter what happens, the Extra Mile will be here to yap about it all for an hour or so each week. So thank you all so much for listening to Season 7 of the Extra Mile. Season 8 starts next year, January 13th, 2025. For Jenn B and Chris, I'm Darryl. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in 2025 for the next green flag. Good night, everybody.